Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Funkoverse strategy game. Today we are going to open up and look at the Space Jam: A New Legacy box set. So this is probably, personally, one that I was like, not like, oh my gosh, it's this set. Like, I mean, a Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, some, I think most of them, there's like, all these people are excited for the theming of it. This one was kind of like, meh. I don't think it went over as well because I don't think the movie bounced off. Like, this would have been Space Jam, the first one with Michael Jordan. I think it probably would have sold a lot better. But that being said, I picked it up for multiple reasons. One, complete my collection. Two, because all these games have extra things in them. So even though, hey, I might not be a huge fan, like, I haven't seen this movie, so I can't speak to anything on the movie. But I mean, I'm not a huge basketball fan, so I don't really know LeBron James. It's not like, ooh, I'm buying it for him. Bugs Bunny's cool, but I'm not really a huge fan of the Space Jam outfit. If they would have came in, like, regular Bugs Bunny and LeBron James and just, like, his regular basketball, uniform, then I would have been a little bit more excited. Because I'm like, ooh, that's cool. But even though we get, again, a new map, you get some new abilities, new characters to play as. There might be somebody else I play with that loves LeBron James, the same way that they might hate Golden Girls, That's what makes this Funko game so incredible. There's something for everybody. I've never seen Game of Thrones, picked up that set. Coming out, it's Universal Monsters. There's going to be kids that have no idea who any of those people are, but other people are going to love, that's the set they've been waiting for. So, I'm all on board for it. I also bought this online. I randomly got the Chase figure, so I gotta hunt down the regular one. Chase figures are something that Funko games have been doing for a while now. They started with their, the Disney Villainous set. Actually, I don't know if that's, it's not Funko, but Disney Villainous started doing it, where they have alt versions of their characters. And now Funko's doing it. So they had who was the first one? Jaws. They had the Jaws set with a bloody shark mouth Jaws. And then they had Alice in Wonderland, who was sparkly. And now this one, they have Bugs Bunny, who's flocked, which means his fur, even on his arms, and his legs down here are fuzzy. So that's kind of anything he does not want to stand. So what's nice is right on the front of the box it says whether or not it's a Chase or not. So it's not like it's a mystery pack you have to buy. I think Chases are probably like one in a Chase. It's probably like one in every 6 or so. A lot of room on my little stand there. But there are the two characters. We have Bugs Bunny and basketball professional LeBron James. So he's got his Goon Squad outfit on. He's apparently number 7. And then LeBron also has his outfit on. They've been like adding in his arm, like a simulation of his arm tattoos. I don't know how accurate they are. There's a basketball and a crown, and he's number 6. Again, not knowing about LeBron James. I don't know if that's maybe his number. Maybe Bugs picked 7 to be one better than him. Alright, so then we're gonna, of course, get our dice. Have all our different sides on them. That's very familiar. I'm just going to slide these guys over to the side for right now. And we're going to look at some of the other components. So, like always, we're going to get an instruction booklet. These are always, you can play the game by themselves, or you can add other new sets. So you can go through all the different components, the basics on how to play the game. So every single Funkoverse set you pick up, with the exception of single character packs, unless there's 2 characters in there, you can play on its own, or you can mix and match with other sets. Yeah, they go through the basics of how to play the game. moving, challenges, assisting, interactions with stuff. And then it tells you to stop, start playing. Like, play a game. Then you can go through and do the full experience where you can add these different scenarios and do other different stuff. So they kind of want you just to play one game where you just sort of move around and do stuff. Then you can add in scenarios. They have various items you can get. Every set comes with at least one item. There's companions for some things for different sets. This is mixing and matching other games. Ability types. And then a good breakdown about all the different things, like instructions, how moving actually works, like where you can see with your character. These are really, it's actually a really good book. So here's all your stuff on moving, like what you can and can't move through, how you can move around stuff. There's very good diagrams of all that, as well as doing challenges, which is the main thing you do, rolling dice to try and knock your opponent down, knock them out. Complete quests, and then a glossary of everything, and then FAQ, just in case you have some questions about this actual game. Alright, so we looked at that. Let's look at our board, because that's one of the big things. This is one of the draws that some people might buy the game for. You want a new area to play on. And I got too much stuff on my table. Alright, so our first board is a full map of, I'm gonna guess it's just called Toon World. So we got some semi-iconic areas on here. So in this corner we have Bugs Bunny's house. I'll kind of pick these up and get these a little bit closer so we can look at them. But in the one corner, we have Bugs Bunny's rabbit hole. A bunch of duck season, rabbit season signs, his mailbox. Then if we cross over, we have a western town. So these get a little bit more generic. But there's a bunch of Looney Tunes stuff with the west. Nothing like generally specific. We have in the middle, we have kind of like a well or a portal that splits the four areas. We have a canyon level, which is Roadrunner Coyote-ish. There's a painted hole on the wall, some Acme products. And then our fourth area is Warner Brothers Tower and some houses. I'm assuming one of these is probably Sylvester and Tweety's house. But yeah, so it gets a couple different areas. Now, this is a very interesting map because it is very open. So the only borders there are is in each corner there's an item. There's the water tower, Bugs Bunny's little hole, which is one tower that takes up the entire corner. But they're also opposites, like most of these maps are. So there's one spot tile over here, and then the saloon takes up an entire corner. Other than that, the only other barricades are these four things right here. So you have lots of open area to do whatever you want to do. Lots of these maps have big things you have to walk around or move through, like little pathways. This is a very open board. It's just oddly interesting. Then on the other side, they have the kind of like main scenario, the draw board. This is the like cosmic basketball court. What's it officially called? Serververse Classic Court. So this is from the movie. So this is our basketball courts. We got our two zones here. We have a center court, some power-up areas. And this is where you can play the special mode of the game, basketball, which is really fun. So we're going to look at that right now. So I'm going to look at the characters last. So we get the scenario sheets. So each one has 2 for each map. Then the flip side are for the other board. So lots of these are repeats from previous games. But again, if you don't own them, that's fine. But even still, just something different. So we start with runners, which is basically your characters start in the starting areas, and you're trying to run and get these tokens. Being an open area, there's going to be not a lot of things to hide around or dodge. So it's whoever can probably get there the quickest. Otherwise, other ones you have to maybe take a path or enter a doorway. There's blocking points here. If you have guys that have ranged abilities, they're going to do very well. And then we have Scrimmage, which is very much like the same idea, except this one you have a full start and you're going left to right instead of up to down. So here it just says rules. Opponent's target marker can be challenged as a rival. Target markers cannot be moved. Gaining points. If you challenge an opponent's target marker, so like you guys want to get here, they want to get over here, and when you gain 1 point, if that opponent has more points than you, you gain 2 points instead. If you interact with a point on the marker, the A, B, C, or D, you gain a point. Or if you knock out a rival, you gain a point. So that's how you gain points. You get more if you can get to these, but if you have to, you can pick up the cheaper ones. And then runners was kind of the same idea. Interact with a point marker, you gain +2. Interact, if your allies interact with one, you gain 1. You knock out a rival, you gain 1. So this one, you select one character to be your special runner, and the other one to be your ally. So like one character gains more points, and one doesn't. So that's that. Then we look at the other side. So let's look at leaders first. This is a very common one. You have starting areas and you have secret spots. So this is basically again, you choose a leader and you have an ally. So you have 2 players. If your leader knocks out another leader, you gain 4 points. If your ally knocks out a leader, you gain 3 points. Your leader knocks out just one of the rivals, you gain 2 points. If your leader knocks out an ally, or your ally knocks out a rival, you gain 1 point. So basically, if the high level guys knock each other out, it's high points. If the lower knocks out a higher, it's 3. If the higher knocks out a lower, it's 2. If the lower knocks out another lower, it's 1. Or if you interact with a marker. So lots of that stuff has to do with who do you want to target, who's more worth. Is it maybe easier for me to like not try and hunt down a specific character or risk my characters getting done, doing different points. That's the basic idea of these. They're all very simple, all kind of similar. But then they started adding these extra fun modes like basketball. So in here you're still going to have point markers, but you're also going to add these basketball hoops, and you're going to have power-ups. So what you want to try and do in here is be the first player. The first player is a player whose character has a basketball. At the end of the round, do not pass the first player marker. The character successfully challenges an adjacent rival that has a basketball player. They take it. So it's a steal. A character of the basketball who can see their opponent's hoop marker may take a shot. Do a basic action, roll 2 dice, and count the successes. The shot was made if the hoop marker is within the number of squares equal to the shot throw. So the closer you are, the easier it is to make that shot. If you make it, each player returns their characters to their starting areas. Your opponent gives one of their characters the basketball. End of round. If you miss the shot, the opponent gives the basketball to the standing character nearest to the hoop. Gaining points. If your character has made a shot using the rule above, gain 2 points, or 3 if the shot is more than 3 squares away. If you interact with a point marker, gain 1 point. If you knock out a rival, gain 1 point. So you could have one of your other characters run off to one of these opposite sides and try and grab these points. Or you could just try and knock out one of your opponent's players rather than trying to make baskets. I really wish, and I've said this in other videos, that some of the high points would be worth more points. Like this one, like scoring a basket would be worth more points. Like a decent amount more points than knocking out a rival or interacting with a point. Or the leaders, like knocking out leaders would be worth more. Because they give you more of an incentive to protect your leader or have your leader run away. Otherwise, sometimes it's like, if I can just get to this other point marker and do that multiple times, I know they go away, they have a cooldown timer, so you can't just farm them, but I think there should be more points for that. But I haven't played enough of these to say what those should be. Alright, then we're going to get some trackers for your cooldowns, so when you use abilities, they go on here every turn, it moves down once, or if you get knocked out, you go on here once you go off this meter, you get your points back. And then we got some tokens, so let's look at those. If I can get this baggie open. Alright, so we'll just dump all these out. Alright, I'm gonna flip my camera down a bit. So you're gonna get some tokens. So you're gonna get, let's see what we all got here. We got a first player marker. This will help you keep track of which team is first player. We have some knockout counters. We're going to get 4 of them. So if your character gets inactive, you can use those. There's going to be a Goon Squad and a Goon Squad token with knocked down in the back. So these act as your allies so that you can play 2-player games unless you own other characters. Then you can add them in. And they have special cards we'll look at as well. We have 4 of these tokens. Each character will get 2. These are your ability tokens. They determine what abilities you can use. We do have these point counters. So you get 4 of them. A, B, C, and D. That just tells you where on the board to put them. And then you do is you can flip them over and they have little crystals on the back. Which then you can set your crystals on top. So you do have a baggie of those we can look at really quick. Again, if I can open these things are kind of a pain. So you get these little gem crystals, you get your points, you can set them on there. This might be another way though you can like determine some of your points is you could limit the number of crystals. You could be like 1 on each the 4 things. There's only 4 crystals available, so after somebody's grabbed all 4 of them, you could be like, nope, we're not going to use the rest. Then that way they can't keep, again, like farming on them. Alright, so that's all your main game stuff. Those come in pretty much every box. Then the other thing is we have all these, we have some stars here too. So you have 2 stars and 2 targets. So these represent your target meters for the one scenario. They have a defense marker because you actually have to interact with them. So that's something a little bit different. And then we have the basketball hoops. And one side says Goon Squad, one says Goon Squad. And those are specifically for your basketball mode. And then we have 6 power-ups. So these just have pluses. So you don't randomly know which one you have. And then we can flip them all over. Then each one's going to have a different symbol with a cooldown meter. So when you use it, it's going to go to number 3 on this cooldown bar that we saw earlier. And that means it takes 3 turns for you to be able to use that ability again. And then we'll look at those right now. So we're just going to slide our board out of the way. I'm going to fold this back up. Now just be careful when you're folding these boards, because they could, if you fold them the wrong way, they might break or bend. So let's look at some of our cards. So we're going to have these status cards called power-ups. So these are exclusive to this game. And we're going to have an item, the basketball. So let's look at the basketball first. We'll look at the actual character abilities second. Alright, so if you're carrying the basketball, so we're going to get this little tiny silver basketball that one of the characters can hold. So we can go ahead and give it to LeBron here. If I can stick it in his hand. So then they will hold that like that, and that shows that they're carrying that item. And then, again, you can mix and match these items between different games and everything else. The only thing that's different with this is, this item, I don't know if it's going to be as useful in other games. If the other ones are different various weapons or items, you could mix and match to other games and modes. So the basketball says, when this character rolls a triple, ship one thing on the cooldown track 1. So that actually could be very helpful. So it doesn't have to be just for the basketball mode. And it says, when a character becomes exhausted, they may give the basketball to an ally within 3 squares they can see. So it's kind of fun. So if they lose it, they can at least drop it to somebody else. So yeah, you could throw that in when you're playing, Jurassic Park. Then we're going to have our power-up cards. So we have Block. Well, standing adjacent rivals all have all their moves reduced by 1. We have Steal. As a basic action, this character may take a basketball from an adjacent character. Pass. After this character gives a basketball to an ally, that ally may do an action. Jump. When this character takes a shot, double the number of successes rolled. Stamina. At the start of this character's turn, they may stand up or do a move 1. And Power. Decreases a character's ability cost by 1. So yeah, these are kind of fun. And it's also neat just because they're not directly related to that basketball mode. So you could potentially just litter these around the board on other modes as well. And someone gets this, also, oh, now they have an extra ability, now they have this. The only one that might not work as well would be the Pass, because it mentions passing. It mentions giving the basketball, so that'd be probably the only one. And the Jump, because it says taking a shot. I guess Steal. So 3 of them. 3 of them wouldn't work as well without the basketball, but that's fine. You can always take out those 3 and play with the other 3. Alright. And we're going to look at, we have the Goon Squad. And these are blank on the back. And the Goon Squad. They have the same thing. These are your basic moves that you can do during your turn. So it's all the generic characters get. Move, challenge, assist, interact, and rally. So again, you're playing with a second set. You can add other characters in here. You can add Darkwing Duck and the Kool-Aid Man to fight off against LeBron and Bugs Bunny. If you want. Or you can take these guys, or if you don't have them, you can use the Goon Squad in that. Or if you're playing, you have another set, you want to play 3 players, you can each grab one of these. It just gives you generic characters to use if you want to play more than 1-on-1. You can play 2-on-2 or 4-player teams, and you can have extra cards. Alright, so we're going to look at what our characters themselves do. So you have LeBron James. So down in the bottom corner here, it's going to show that he gets the two blue tokens to use. His very bottom is his special ability, which says he has 2 health, and then it says Crossover. LeBron can move through rivals as though they were allies. So that's actually really cool. He can just run through whoever he needs to. And then the other tokens here show if you spend that ability, you put one of your tokens of that color on the cooldown meter. Since all his are blue, he has the option of having 2 of them. So he can use any of his abilities very easy. When you have mixed colors, though, you use one ability, you have to wait for it to cool down before you can use it or the other abilities. So Chase Down Block, the little star means it's a challenge. Place LeBron adjacent to a rival he can see within 3 spaces. Do a challenge 2 to them. Step back jumper, move 1 away from adjacent rival, do an action. And in and out, challenge 3 and then move 2. So you can do a thing and then move. You can get next to people and then challenge them. Or you can get away and do something, which could be a challenge, could be an action. So yeah, he's all about moving around and stuff. So it's actually not a bad character at all. Then finally, we'll have Bugs Bunny, who has a gray and a blue, and he has What's Up, Doc? When standing after a rival within 4 squares of Bugs Bunny does a challenge and loses, you may place a blue token from your ability pool on the 2 of your cooldown track to place Bugs adjacent to that rival. So as long as you're not knocked down, like incapacitated, if another rival does a challenge within 4 squares and loses, you can move right next to them. So very specific things. Within 4 squares, they have to lose and you have to have a token ready. But it gets you next to them to do stuff. So then he has Rascally Rabbit. Challenge 3. If you win, shift a token or marker on any cooldown track up 1 or down 2. So you can either hinder someone else or you can help yourself or a teammate. Should have turned left. Choose a rival bugs can see within 3 squares and move them 2 squares. Which direction? It doesn't matter. Move them away from you, move them closer. And ain't I a stinker? Move 1. Choose an exhausted rival within 2 squares. Your opponent gives their exhausted marker to one of their unexhausted characters. So that character's exhausted, so they've used their actions for the turn. You can basically make someone else exhausted. Oh, I've used this guy first, I'm going to use him second. You can choose the other guy to be exhausted. So Bugs Bunny is kind of all about getting next to the guy's What's Up doc, possibly, and then messing with everybody else. Helping them, hurting people. So that's kind of interesting. Very, very Bugs Bunny-ish. And again, I'm going to like the thing that this is Space Jammed. There's basketball mode. Not everything's tied to basketball. Like, they definitely couldn't tie the characters directly into it. But even like LeBron, his abilities are mentioned like basketball moves. But that's no different than Harry Potter having spell moves, or Jurassic Park having like dinosaurs having bite. It's what their characters are, but they're not just only designed to only be really useful in like a specific game mode. So that's really cool. Alright, so that was Space Jam for Funkoverse. So yeah, if you're not sure on this set, now you know what's in it. If you find, maybe, again, you're not really a huge fan of these characters, or you're not a fan of the movie, or didn't see it, basketball mode's pretty cool. The characters aren't even bad themselves if you don't mind who the characters are. The basketball items kind of cool. The maps are neat, just something different to play on. So like I've said with any of these Funkoverse, if you want more content, everything's probably worth picking up, even if you're not familiar or don't know the characters, just because they give you different options. But if you're only picking up specific